Hey, welcome to Clarity Tarot. Today's topic is going to be what compliments do you get behind your back? And I shuffled 6 different piles, or 6 different significators, I guess I'll say. And they're all major arcana. Here's the ones that came out. So for pile 1, we have Sophia. This is the High Priestess in this deck. It's the Byzantine Tarot deck. Isn't that gorgeous? Pile 2, we have the Charioteer, which is the Chariot in this deck. Pile 3, we have Fortitude, the Strength card. Pile 4, we have the Lovers. I'm just trying to, cover up the nakedness happening on these cards. Pile 5, we have Judgment. Pile 6, we have the Holy Fool, the Fool card. So this reading's all going to be about, what do people say behind your back that's positive? I know there's a lot of readings out there on YouTube that's like, what's the gossip on you? Or what are people saying about you? And my general point of view is that a lot of times people just talk because they want to gossip about others, or they're having some kind of negative feeling about themselves and they need to discharge that feeling in some way. And so it's not really about us, and not even valuable to hear about. I'm going to do another reading similar to this, which is like, what criticisms do people have about you behind your back? In both cases, my intent with this reading is for what to come through to be actually something true that's being noticed. So if somebody compliments you on being a super kind person, you're not actually really mean in real life. You are actually a kind person. You get it? So that's what today's reading will be, is the compliments you're receiving that are truly accurate about your nature at this time. And I hope it'll be useful for you. Let's see where we go. Check out the box for your timestamps for your reading. And if you want a private reading on this or any other topic, you can find out how to email me in the description box. I am going to be raising my prices for private readings next year. So if you're interested in getting in a private reading or even purchasing a few before the rate increase, get in touch with me. And I look forward to seeing you at your reading. See you in a minute. And we're going to start with pile 1. So if you picked Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. Let's see, what am I going to use to clarify? I guess I'm going to use my Gummy Bear Tarot here. So right off the bat, compliments people have about you when they're saying things about you behind your back. People see you actually as very wise, very tapped in. So the High Priestess in any deck is about the master, the mistress of the unconscious mind, understanding intuition, the spiritual world, what can't be seen, that which is seen and unseen. And so you're just really tapped in, pile 1. But especially in this deck with Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, to me it's another layer of having this sense of like spiritual authority, spiritual knowledge, and particularly around, yes, intuition, but I'm really getting here like knowledge of God. I think you're someone who would consider yourself to have a very close relationship with whatever God it is that you worship, or even whatever words you would choose to describe your faith system. I think that you see that as like the focal point of your life, that relationship or that expression for you. And people really notice this about you, even if you're predominantly in like a business environment. Like, let's say maybe you even work like at a restaurant as a server, but somehow people know that you're this tapped in and you're wise and you're focused on the spiritual meaning behind all things. Maybe even when you're taking somebody's drink order, you just have a sentence to say to them or something that really like hits them between the eyes, in a way that's kind of scary, like in a good way. Like, wow, I just got my life handed to me by this person that's bringing me my Pepsi, I don't know. There's also something about your stare I'm hearing. I think you're the kind of person that if someone's talking to you and you're really focused on them, you're so focused on them, it can almost feel like you are seeing through that person or seeing like deep into their soul. You make great eye contact, especially if there's anybody that you're romantically interested in, like this person is mesmerized by that eye contact, just so you know. But even like on a friendship level or a work level, people find it a little bit unnerving just how much is communicated through the way that you use your eyes, through the way that you look. It's just, it's clear that you're like looking for something and finding it. You know what I mean? Like you're looking for more information and you are actually seeing. It's like you're literally, like I'm having this image in my mind of you looking at someone and it's an x-ray. It's like you're seeing their bones, you're seeing their muscles, but like on an emotional and spiritual level, you look at somebody and you size them up really quickly. I think people find this like really incredible, inspiring, and a bit terrifying about you, pile one. But it's, again, like it's coming through as a compliment. Like, wow, pile one is out of this world, like literally out of this world. I'm getting that too from the background behind her. It's like, it looks to me like all these laser beams almost. They're like, pew, pew. Maybe, do you also like video games? People compliment that about you. Like, how is this the most spiritual person, wise person I've ever met? And their favorite thing is like sit at home and play mobile games or video games. If that's you, I have to know because that is something I totally love to do. And yeah, want to find my people. Okay, so Spirit, what else? What compliments are being given about pile one behind their back, please? What else would you like to say about compliments for pile one? And again, if you skip the intro, these are things that are true that are about you. So it's not just people saying like, oh, pile one is this way and that way. No, things that are being said that are actually correct. So what else about pile one, please, Spirit? We have the Hanged Man and Two of Pentacles in the reverse. You're willing to look at things from a different perspective. The story of the Hanged Man card is that this person, like on purpose, hangs themselves upside down so they can look at the world from a different vantage point. And you do this in all different kinds of ways. Maybe there's even some part of your work where you're taking on somebody else's perspective. Like the first example that's coming to mind is perhaps you're a translator, like a language translator. So someone's speaking and you're having to translate what they're saying into another language. But of course, that is never as straightforward as it sounds. It's like you have to transmit the feeling and the intent and the tone of what that person is saying. Yeah, I'm just like, even in this moment, I'm getting a little bit lost in how difficult that is, how complicated it is. It's not just, cat is gato or whatever. You have to be able to digest someone else, what they're trying to communicate, and then repurpose it, replay it, reinvent it in that other language. Two of Pentacles in the reverse. This again is what I'm getting with the eyes. I think when people talk with you, they have the feeling that no one else exists. Have you ever been with somebody who makes you feel this way? It's like you sit down and you could be at a busy party or a crowded street and it's like no one else exists in that moment. It's just you. This person feels that way. I think many of you in this pile may have asked about a specific person because I'm really getting like one person come through versus a group of people. even though, again, this would be something that many people would notice. I think there's something about the way you dress as well. It's very, I mean, I'm getting like kind of like how she's dressed here. It's very regal, it's very conservative, but it's not like frumpy. That is a very thin line, isn't it, between conservative and frumpy? I think so. But it's like you get the sense that like you value yourself. Like you're not going to just let every part of you hang out there for the world to see. You also dress for your own experience, for your comfort, for what your body wants, as well as how it appears and the fashion of it and all that. And I think this comes through about you, like your it's your balance. Like, yes, I'm wearing this for you, for it to be attractive to your eye and stimulating. And I'm also wearing it for me because it's what I like, because it's what feels good on me. And that is also important to me. Okay, I think this was your reading. Let me just see if there's anything else that Spirit wants to leave you with. The Knight of Wands. Yeah, so this isn't you. This is somebody I think headed your way. Somebody that's actually much younger in terms of like their energy. So like Sophia is so wise. It's like, to me, it's like crone energy. And you know, you can be a gorgeous 22-year-old in the prime of your life, the best you're ever going to look, and have crone energy. So it's not about like being an old hag or something. Sometimes I get that image with that word. But you have this very like old soul wise energy, and this person coming towards you is the opposite. It's like very childish. It's very playful. I don't think it's to say that they're not mature at all, but I think it's more about just giving you a heads up that this person is on their way. And I think you already know who this person is, pile 1. But Spirit just wanted to remind you that you'll be hearing from them soon. Okay, so this was your reading. Hope it was helpful. Leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If you'd like a private reading before my rates increase, first of the year, get in touch, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hey, Pile 2, thanks for being here. You picked the Charioteer. And we're looking at what compliments do people give you behind your back, the Charioteer. So the Chariot in other decks. This card is associated with Cancer, so you might be a Cancer or a water sign. You don't have to be. But the Chariot card is about balance of the two sides of the psyche, the masculine and the feminine. So the part of me that's active, that's going out and making my life happen, and the part of me that's surrendered, that is accepting, that is not withdrawn, but more passive, just in a receiving posture, giving and receiving, to say it that way. So I think people see you as really able to do both, and this is super rare. Most people you meet are very solidly on one side or the other, either like go, go, go mode and can never slow down, or kind of slow and in receptive energy and not able to create the results they want in their lives, you know? But you're really able to do both. So maybe even in terms of like your work life, you could have kind of a big job that's very demanding, but also a very peaceful, relaxing personal life where you engage more of your feminine energy. Or maybe you're in some kind of job that requires both, and like you do things like the opposite way someone would expect. So let's say maybe you're a very feminine energy accountant, which, even though it's very much about like, okay, dot all the I's, cross all the T's, you're able to do it in a way that's very surrendered and like nurturing somehow. Or maybe you're a very assertive and like forward moving, goal oriented spiritualist or therapist, like someone that you would expect to go see and have it feel like a warm bath. It's more like a shot of espresso or something. Like, let's get up and go. Come on. What do we need to make happen here? So there's something like this where I think there's something unexpected about you. There's something surprising about you. And I am getting that, like, the way that this person has like this palm frond raised above their head, there's something kind of threatening against you, threatening about you. And let me explain what I mean, because again, this is a compliment. So this reminds me of something someone said to me when I was teaching a class in prison. This was several years ago. And the person said, you're not the loudest person, Miss Jan, but you have every person in this room under your thumb and no one's going to cross you. Which I thought was a really nice compliment. I'm going to take that as a compliment anyway, but I really feel like that is my energy. Like I'm not the one that needs to be out here like controlling everything or directing how things are going to go, but you better believe that if things are going sideways or a way that I find unsafe or unacceptable, it will end at that moment, And I think there's something like this about you. This could even be like if you're a parent, maybe you're very loving, very gentle, but also very firm. It's like, don't test me, F around and find out kind of energy. And I think this really surprises people about you also. But again, like it's in a good way. Even the ones who maybe tried to do you dirty in some way, pile 2, when they find this out about you, that like you really can't be played with, they see this as a really positive thing. Like they really respect it about you. What else? Compliments given to pile 2 behind their back. Is there something about your face? Just want to look a little bit more closely here. What this is making me think of is just like a very symmetrical, very pleasing face. And it's almost like not even conscious. It's like what happens if you walk into a space that's very organized, has a lot of natural light, has a lot of like those design elements that are like soothing to the nervous system, but you might not even register what those are. There's something about your face that's like that. And it's not about being like stunningly beautiful, which you absolutely may be. It's something else. It's some other quality. So I don't want you to discard this message if you're like, well, my face is not that amazing. But no, there is something really, truly remarkable about your face that immediately puts people at ease. Maybe it's a quality of like softness in the face. Maybe it's maybe this like balance of masculine and feminine is also represented somehow in your face. I have heard that like the left side and the right side does represent those two sides of you, and however much energy you're feeding to that part of your life will actually go into your face. So there might be something like that, but whatever it is, it's like, I think people are a little bit mesmerized by your face. It's so cool. And it's like literally like almost like the bone structure of your face. It's not any makeup you're using. It's not the color of your skin or your eyes. It's not whether you had your eyebrows done. It's like, it's none of that. It's your face. That's kind of cool. Again, I'm drawn to, it's like, yes, this person has like the palm frond, but they also, look at this. Oh, that's funny. They have, they're holding the reins to both horses, and there's a whip also. So there's like 3 different ways for this person to control these horses. I've never noticed that before. So I think there's a little bit of a dominating side to you, maybe even in the bedroom, pile 2. Okay, if you have a dominating side in the bedroom and you've ever shown that to anyone, that has gotten around. Let me just tell you, like that person needed to blab to anyone who would listen about what an amazing experience that was and how much they like you. And this could be even, take it on a range. So for some of you, it might just be like, oh, they took the initiative, and when we get busy, they're the one that gets us started. Could be all the way from that, all the way up to like dominatrix style, being in control. But whatever manifestation of that you personally have, pile 2, like it's just right. It's 10 out of 10. Like big time. Interesting. Juicy. Okay, what else? What else for pile 2? What compliments do people give them behind their back? And if you've never been with someone that way, where that side of you has come out, people sense it about you. They do. So even like if somebody's having dreams or fantasies about you, that's how you would show up in their fantasies. And so they might be like, whoa, pile 2, but pile 2 is like so sweet and gentle. But then they would have this like wild dream where you show up in this like really dominating energy, and it's kind of shocking, but in a good way. Again, like you're kind of shocking, pile 2, I feel. What else about pile 2? Compliments people give them behind their back. Compliments for pile 2. 5 of Pentacles. What else? Compliments for pile 2. The High Priestess. And the Lovers. And the 6 of Cups. Yeah, you... I think you want harmony and balance at all costs. I think you've fought really hard for this in your life. You've not always had it. You've not always even known what it has felt like to have balance, to have a regulated nervous system. I think all of this is really new for you, actually. And so now that you have it, it's like you are fighting for it. You're not going to let it go. And anyone who tries to cross you or infringe on your peace in any way, shape, or form gets the 5 of Pentacles. They get like the door slammed in their face, and not without warning. I think you're very fair. I think you're very balanced. Again, with the 2 sides of the face. Maybe we even have some Libras in this pile. But it's like people know that your first relationship is with yourself. It's with these 2 sides of you. You know, I wouldn't even be surprised if you relate to seeing yourself as having 2 parts. Like, I met somebody the other day that said, like, there's me, my name is Chris, and there's also Christina, and here's when Christina comes out. I've met some other people who say, like, you know, there's these 2 parts of me, the two parts of my spirit. One lives in my heart chakra, another in my sacral chakra, and those are the 2 main drivers of who I am and how I show up in the world. So there might be something like this for you, pile 2, where you really see yourself as these 2 distinct, equally important energies that you want to express in the world and constantly have in balance. And it's almost like they are your master, even though here we have you doing all the different things to try to control these energies. You're really deferential to them. By that I mean, you know, what does this part of me need? What does that part of me need? How do I make sure that everything is well, that I'm regulated, that I have what I need in life? And so if anybody comes in from the outside and does not respect those rules, whether they've been stated or otherwise, you put that person out. Like, nope, sorry, out of the sanctuary. This is a safe, sacred space, and not just anybody gets to come in here. Don't be tracking in or walking across my clean floors with your dirty feet, as Chitra Moon would say, one of my favorite readers. What else here? With the 6 of Cups and the Lovers, there's something just so powerful about a relationship with you, because whether this is romantic or otherwise, it's like you know what it feels like to be in harmony with yourself. And so you also bring that same vibe to other people. Do you know how valuable that is? Like, just think about that for a minute, pile 2. Most people are at war with themselves, hate themselves, or have this huge ego, which is also out of touch. It's like, I just see myself as the best thing ever, and I'm not going to actually be in touch with myself and see myself clearly because that's too scary. Like, most people do not have inner harmony. And the fact that you do means that you also know what it looks like and feels like what's the tone, what's the texture of having that with another person. And so you're able to bring that in your relationships. And if for some reason you're not able to create that harmony, 100% it is the other person's fault. Now, I'm not saying you don't do anything wrong in relationships ever, but specifically about the harmony and the collaboration, the cooperation with that other person, if it's not there, it's because they are not valuing you as equal, and they're not trying to cooperate with you to the same degree that you are trying to cooperate with them. And I think you've come to understand this in your life, Pile 2, which is why you're just like, nope, out in the cold. If you're not going to offer the same cooperation to me and consideration that I offer you, I'm not going to be in a relationship with you to my own detriment. This is so interesting. I'm understanding something about myself and my life right now from doing this reading. So thank you for being here, Pile 2. It's really helpful. But anyway, the people that are in your life and that you choose to keep just feel so lucky. They feel this deep sense of understanding, mutuality, respect, soothing, nurturing, positivity. And it's not just soothing. It's not just like that feminine energy. There's the masculine in there too. So like, what would be the word for that? It's like there's this prolific feeling. Like me and Pile 2, like we can do anything. We can go anywhere. We can be anything because neither of us are trying to hold the other one back. We're truly supporting each other, and so the sky is the limit. Okay, Pile 2, what an interesting reading. Amazing. Let me know what you thought. Please leave a comment or a like. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to get a private reading before the rates go up January 1st, get on it, send me an email, and thanks so much for being here. See you in the next one. Hey, Pile 3, if you picked Fortitude, this is going to be your reading. So Fortitude, number 11, the Strength card. So the Strength card is always about, for me, strength. Usually it's strength that's come from struggle and strife and hardship. No one becomes strong without lifting things that are heavy. You're not just born with incredible muscles. I mean, maybe to some degree you are, but they're not incredible unless you use them and build them up. Some people have more proficiency to become stronger than others, but in 100% of cases, you become strong because you honor that about your being, and you work out in some way, whether that's physically, spiritually, or otherwise. So in some way, you have intentionally focused on making yourself stronger, Pile 3. People see this about you. I think there's been some point in your life where you would have seen yourself as a weakling. I'm hearing a couple examples of this. One manifestation of this might be perhaps you were very emotionally volatile in the past, meaning like anything could set you off. You were easy to manipulate. Like if I tried to make you feel guilty or ashamed about something or just laid some rap on you, whether it was BS or true, I could get you to feel really bad about yourself and you'd be easier to control for me. That would be one example of a weakness that could resonate for some person. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like that makes you weak or terrible or something. It's just the way it's coming through in this reading, okay? Like something that could have been stronger. Another option would be perhaps like weak in your own opinions, your own point of view, your own willingness to assert yourself and stand up for yourself, which could be like not being willing to share your feelings, not giving your opinion about anything like political matters, or not standing up for what you believe at work, or not advocating for a client, just kind of rolling over if somebody says we should do it this way or that way, always going along to get along instead of, saying how you think it should be. This could even be like a physical weakness as well. Like perhaps you spent a lot of time inside and haven't been out physically using your body, using your muscles or working out, or maybe you've been sick. So whatever. With this pile, I'm getting that the things people are noticing about you now have not always been the case. So these are changes that have happened for you. The other thing that's coming to mind specifically with this card, so in this deck, so the Byzantine Tarot to me always makes me think of like Christian stories and stories from the Bible and such, I think because it just, looks like iconography, a lot of it to me. And this reminds me of the story of, is it Jacob wrestling with the angel in his dream? So Jacob was one of the first humans on the planet. Am I going to remember this right? Was he the son of, I don't remember who he was the son of right now. But Jacob and Esau was the brother. Was it Esau who wrestled? Oh my goodness. Whatever. There's some figure in Genesis, in the first few chapters of Genesis, that wrestles with an angel. And it's really the only time I know of in the Bible where there's a story about somebody wrestling with God, wrestling with an angel in a dream. But it's seen as actually kind of like to his credit, like a positive thing that he did this. And I think this is coming through for you for a particular reason. There's some kind of wrestling that you've done. Maybe this is even like with your spiritual beliefs. Maybe it's with, maybe you've been brave enough to stand up to your family of origin or to an abuser of some kind that you've had, or a bully. Like, you have wrestled with people much more powerful than you, and you've done so bravely. And this is one of the major reasons you've developed this fortitude and strength that you now have. And so I think Spirit's wanting to call it out just to tell you, like, good job. It took a lot of moxie to do what you did. Moxie, it's a funny word. A lot of bravery, a lot of strength, a lot of willingness to even try that. And it took a lot out of you to do that as well. So slow clap for you, pile 3. Really amazing work. And that has resulted now in this resilience, this determination, this grit, this ability to stick to things that perhaps you didn't have before. And I'm curious why you didn't have that before. Because in my mind, like, the first thing that comes to mind is like, well, trauma. I mean, if you don't have resilience, it's because you're just beaten down too much by trauma. But let's see what Spirit wants to say. Anything you want to tell pile 3 about why this has changed, other than the wrestling? Why was this in place before, and why has it changed? We have the Empress and the 7 of Pentacles. You have been working on your mother wound. So what's coming to mind with this is like, well, if my own parent didn't love me, like, none of this matters. It's kind of a giving up on yourself, a rolling over. And I think this is largely subconscious, but you may have been in therapy or have had to confront your mother in one or many ways in recent times. And this directly has resulted in healing this dynamic. We also have the 7 of Pentacles, which is about planting many seeds, seeing what grows, and evaluating that. Like, I think something changed also when you decided to take this seriously and say, okay, I'm not just going to look at myself as a coward anymore. Like, I'm not willing to have that be me. I want to be strong. I don't want to be weak in this area. And so I'm going to try everything. And so you planted 7 different seeds. Which one's going to grow? Which one's actually going to turn out? And then judged by instead of like throwing up your hands every time something didn't work and didn't bring you the resilience you wanted, you'd say, okay, well, this helped. This one didn't help. I'm going to follow the positive energy, what helped me with this, and keep doing it. And so that was both a good strategy, but even like the very way that you did that was building resilience. You see what I mean? It's like, okay, it's not this thing failed. I'm a failure. I'm terrible. No one will love me. I'm throwing up my hands. And I don't think it was that dramatic for most of you, pile 3. It's just, to make the point. But you instead said, okay, I now have found another way that doesn't work. And I'm going to keep going and figure out what does work. So Spirit is really, really applauding you with this. Also in the back of the deck, we have the 8 of Swords, which is like you realize this is not reality. This is in my own mind somehow. Like somehow I'm telling myself that I'm weak, or I'm accepting this as my life and just not willing to change it. And I'm just not okay with that anymore. Like you just decided that it wasn't what you wanted anymore. Really amazing. Really amazing. I just want to see if there's anything else for pile 3. Compliments people give them behind their back. So this was a lot about this one particular dynamic that shifted for you, pile 3, but I think you probably feel very different inside yourself, but maybe you ask yourself, like, is it really obvious though? Like, do people notice that there's been a change? Oh yes, they notice. Even if you think they would have no cause to notice, it's little things that you do. It's just, there's a total shift in the way you approach things. Anything else that pile 3 should know about compliments they're being given? I'm kind of getting like, no, like this is the message you needed for today, but I'm going to give it one more second and see if there's any like secondary message that wants to come out. 5 of Cups, yeah, in reverse. This is speaking again to the 8 of Swords. It's like, okay, here's what's coming through. Like, don't shoot the messenger, okay? But it's like, in some way, you acted like a sad sack in the past. Like, oh, boo-hoo, poor me. Like, I'm a victim. There's nothing I can do in my life. And look, you could have literally been a victim. Like, this definitely gives me energy of someone who's victimized. So I'm not saying that didn't happen to you, pile 3. But, it was like you took that on as not an experience I had, but who I am as a person. And you've been able to successfully separate that experience from your full identity. Does that make sense? Really amazing. I mean, this is like a lifetime worth of work to shift this, how you see yourself. So I really commend you, pile 3. If you want to share anything about your situation in the comments, please do. Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you want to support the channel. And if you want to get in before the rate increase January 1 for private readings, send me an email. See you soon. Hey, pile 4, if you picked the Lovers, this is going to be your reading. And I don't even know, I just see other readers do this. I don't even know if I need to on YouTube, but I'm gonna just cover these folks up. And we're asking, what are the compliments that people give you behind your back? So this message could be for one of you out there. If you've transitioned in gender, if you're transgender, people compliment you that since your transition, it really looks and feels more like you. So you know how, I mean, this is probably pretty obvious, but certain things look better on certain people, even things like hair color, haircut, styles. It's like if you go with your natural, like who you are on the inside, it shines through and it feels consistent and it's like a positive vibe. And there's something that's coming through that's more consistent with who you are now. So even if you don't relate to the transgender message, there's some change that you've made about yourself that is more in line with how you are on the inside. So this would be like the opposite of Grease. You know, the movie Grease, where is that from like the 50s or 60s? I don't even know, 70s. There's this character, Sandy, who's kind of like, they're in high school. She's very preppy. So she's like a cheerleader, but she's dating like a bad boy. And so to get with him at the end, spoiler alert, this shouldn't be spoiling it for anybody, but seriously, she dresses like what would even be I don't know, the kind of girl that goes with a bad boy, like skin tight clothes, like lots of makeup, whatever. And so this would be like the opposite. Like, because in that story, it's like she changes to be with the person she wants to be. At least she changes on the outside, but she's still the same person inside, you know? But for you, it's like the opposite. Like maybe you were dressing or looked a certain way on the outside that didn't reflect you as much as whatever you're doing now. So you would know what that is, pile 4, but there's some kind of change that even if, how do I explain this? Maybe even like according to society, it's considered not a beauty standard, but it's better for you and people really compliment you on it and think it looks amazing on you. So what comes to mind, the example that comes to mind, I've heard so many women say this, is that they want to cover their gray hair. They don't want to go gray. They think it looks terrible, which I totally disagree. I think gray hair on a woman is like magical and just so stunning. But anyway, I've heard many women say that like they don't ever want to go gray, and so they color their hair in ways that just doesn't seem to suit them. So an example would be like, let's say you finally stop dyeing your hair and let yourself go gray. And even though you feel maybe some kind of way about doing that, like people compliment on you behind your back constantly because it just suits you and you radiate in a way that you didn't before. I don't feel like I'm getting this out very positively, like the way I'm kind of like stumbling with my words. So maybe you've even heard some people say these kinds of things to you and they've come across like a backhanded compliment. And my understanding of what a backhanded compliment is something like, oh my goodness, you look amazing. Nothing like you used to look, you know, which it's like, how should I take that? Or my favorite one, which is like, you know, I keep saying I don't like using numbers to rate people, but I use it as examples on my channel a lot. But anyway, another backhanded compliment would be like, oh my goodness, you are the hottest 7 out of 10 I've ever seen in my life. It's like, how do I take this? Is this positive? Is this a dig? I don't know. So if you resonate, even like in this reading, with hearing something where you're like, I'm not sure how to take this. This is supposed to be a compliment. Spirit wants you to know like these are compliments. People don't know how to describe what it is that they're seeing, what it is that they're experiencing with you, but it's very positive. It's a great change that you've made, and it's on an energetic level as well, so that makes it even more difficult to talk about. Oh my goodness, how many minutes did it take me to get that out? Thank you for your patience, pile 4. All right, so we're asking compliments that pile 4 receives behind their back. I also want to say, like, you're the first pile to really start off with a bang in terms of like your physical appearance. So there is something that people really do love and compliment about your physical appearance. So no matter how you feel about how you look, others really love it. And maybe you really love it too, but I'm just getting I'm getting a sense of at least a few of you in this pile that like just don't feel so great about yourself. Okay, pile 4, Queen of Swords and 9 of Pentacles. Ooh, I love this for you, pile 4. There's something that has become very no nonsense about you. You've become very independent in a way that perhaps you weren't as much before. And maybe this is like independent of the opinions of others, whether it be society or how a specific person in your life would prefer for you to act or feel. This is giving me the vibe, this 9 of Pentacles. I've actually never gotten this interpretation before, but it's making me think of someone who's partnered. So I'm just going to use the example of like a woman who's married to a man. And this man is maybe kind of controlling, maybe a little bit petulant is the word that I'm hearing, like wants things a certain way and likes to boss his wife around, okay, or his partner around. Maybe he married her when she was much younger and she put up with that. But now this bad bee is 9 of Pentacles plus the Queen of Swords. So anytime this person tries to boss them around, they'd probably say something like, I'm sorry you feel that way, or no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I think this is a change that's happened over time in your life. If it's not a partner, it could easily be like kind of an overbearing parent or a workplace, but whatever the case, like you suffer no fools, pile 4. And people compliment you for this, both because of how they've seen you grow, but also I think this person is not easy to stand up to. And it's a different reason for each of you why that is. I'm also now getting the example in my mind of like a very old, like cantankerous elderly person who for some reason has a lot of power still and orders people around. Maybe they have a lot of money or connections or something. Maybe they're like the patriarch of a family or of a company. But it's almost like you can get away with saying things to this person that nobody else could. Like if somebody else told off this patriarch, they would get fired or they would get cut off in the family immediately. But you're able to do it in a way that's so, I guess, grounded and no nonsense, that it's almost like that the person would just like laugh at you. Like, oh, you're such a little spitfire, pile 4. Okay, you don't have to do what I'm telling you to do. And you just go on your merry way and everybody's happy. It's kind of crazy. Oh, and now the example I'm getting, I really don't want to share this one, but kind of my job too. So I'm also getting now like in the bedroom. Actually, I remember a friend of mine saying this. So I was in my 20s at the time when a friend of mine said this to me, that he and his partner hadn't really had any action in a long time, mostly because he wasn't interested. He's like, I just don't want any. You know, we've been together for a while. And his partner was getting very upset about this. And so the partner was like, you know, I'd like for us to sleep together. And my friend just says, no, that's not going to work for me, but I can watch. Does that count? We can do it that way. And his partner just like laughed about it and then kind of went on. And I think they actually end up doing that later. Like seeing how the watching would go or whatever. But like who gets away with that just for like months or years being in a relationship and like, no, I'm just not going to engage that whole part of our relationship, and like that being okay with the person. I'm older now, so it's less shocking, and I think there are more and more couples the older you get that are like, it's just not as big of a priority as when you have more of the hormones raging. But even so, it would be kind of shocking to me for someone to just be like, no, for long periods of time, like, no, not doing it, and for the other person to go along with that. So I don't know what you think about that example. I don't even know what I think about that example, pile 4, but I haven't thought about that in years, so I'm trusting that it came up for a reason. And we're talking about compliments people give you behind your back. And yeah, maybe it's that you get away with things, like you find a way to get what you want and need without creating chaos or destruction behind you. You know, a lot of times, and a lot of people say no or move away from things in a way that can be very intense and destructive, and that is just not your way. You know, the Lover's card is about harmony. It's about mutuality. It's about respect. It can also be about choices, and I think the choices that you make really positively reflect on you and those around you. I would really love it if you'd let me know what you thought about this reading. I felt like I got all of my words wrong, but I'm, again, just trusting that that's part of maybe what you've experienced when people try to compliment you, so it's part of the reading for you. But I would love it if you'd let me know, put my mind at ease. I'd appreciate it. Only if you want to, of course. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to support the channel. If you want to get a private reading before the rate increase on January 1st, now's the time, and I will see you in the next reading. Hey, pile 5, let's see, compliments people give you behind your back, and we have the Judgment card. So judgment is, I immediately think of like Judgment Day, which is a concept from the Bible. It's about there being a record of all the right and wrong things you've done in your life, and that God will have a final reckoning of your lifetime. So it's also, to me, it has a similar feel to the Justice card, but almost like more final. Like I see Justice as kind of like individual events, even though it is also a major arcana, and Judgment is more like the sum total of something, or like the final word on something. So I think people compliment you that like in the end, the bottom line with you is always positive. Like maybe you, like I just experienced in the last pile. Oh my goodness, I just could not get my words right. I think it was part of the message though. But maybe like you say things and a lot of times they come out wrong, but like your heart is in the right place. You know what I'm saying? There's something here like that where you do things a particular way, and the way that you do them is not the point. It's like you get to where you need to go. What's another example? So this is from Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. Anybody ever watch that show? This is from several seasons ago, maybe even like 5 or 6 seasons ago. And there was a finalist. I don't remember his name. He was an older guy, maybe in his 40s or 50s in the show, which is pretty old for that show. And he was a finalist. It was just him and one other girl. And the way that he worked, like while he was cooking, was like he just threw things everywhere. So the whole idea of like mise en place, which is, if I'm saying that correctly, it's like the French technique of just making sure that you have all your ingredients, all your everything like in its place, you know? And he was not like that. He just like threw stuff everywhere. And at the end of the show, Gordon told him, "You work like a pig, but you make beautiful food." So there's something like that here. And I'm not trying to insult you, pile 5. It's just what's coming through. But maybe there's something like that. Like you work in the garden, you get really dirty, but you create these amazing landscapes. Maybe there's some kind of process you go through where you would never be able to tell the beginning to the end where something's going to end up. I'm also thinking of plastic surgery with this pile, because like the day of a plastic surgery or any kind of major reconstructive anything, like it looks like this will never be better than it was before because of all the swelling and everything. These are strange examples coming through for you. I want to move on to this image of the ladder, because I'm noticing like these people climbing up the ladder, and many of them are being pulled down by little devils, it looks like to me. And I'm getting the sense that like you are this person on the ladder that just doesn't fall off. So maybe you're at a company where like there's been really high turnover, but you're the person that's been there forever. Or maybe you're in your 50s and you still are in amazing health, even though most people your age have had one or more major ailments or diseases to deal with, but you're still going strong. What would be another example? I mean, even like, let's say you're in a relationship and it's been a really positive, long-standing relationship, but everyone in your family has always had really negative, toxic, or divorce, or really bad relationships, but yours is really good. There's something about like you stand out in a good way because of your determination, because of your ability to keep the important things. It's like there's a sense here of like you prioritize correctly. So maybe if like your house looks like a disaster every day, and you cook and the kitchen looks like it exploded, but the result is amazing, and your kids are happy and fed, your partner is happy and fed, whatever, like that's the point. What's that? We might have a lot of moms or like house managers in this pile. or single parents. It's like you in life, when you're a parent, you can choose between your kids being, between your house being clean, between your kids being happy, and between you being centered and balanced, but you only have time for two or something like that. I'm butchering that. If someone wants to put it in the comments, if you know the quote I'm trying to come up with. But it's like you make the right choices with that. One other example coming to mind, and this, I think I've given this example one time on this channel before, and it's the idea of a birth plan. So I had a friend who was a single parent, and so I was like her birthing partner for when she went into the hospital. This was, I don't know, 15 years ago. And we went to like these Lamaze classes to prepare for childbirth, and during them, one of them, we talked about a birth plan, which is like you wrote down on 3x5 cards everything that you want as part of your birth experience. And on one of those 3x5 cards, you write down healthy mom, healthy baby. Side note, if any of you out there work with pregnancy or pregnant people or birth coaching, this is an amazing experience, or exercise if you haven't heard of it before, but I feel like you probably would have because it seems like something everyone would do. Anyway, so there's all these 3x5 cards, and you write down, what do I want for my birth plan? I want to avoid a C-section. I want a natural birth. I want a water birth. I want, I don't know, not to be induced. I want to have labor of 10 hours or less, whatever. I want to have this particular playlist playing during the labor and delivery. And so the exercise is you have all these 3x5 cards, and the facilitator will say, okay, now you have to get rid of 3 of these. Which ones do you get rid of? And so you have to think, okay, what's more important to me, the playlist or the water birth, whatever. And so you get rid of a few of the 3x5 cards. And you keep going. The same thing happens. A few minutes later, the facilitator says, okay, now you get to lose 2 more of these elements. And then at the very, very end, they say, okay, you only get one thing remaining. Which card do you keep? And everybody keeps healthy baby, healthy mom, because it's the most important. So a long way and a long example to give you that it's like that's how people compliment you. It's what they see about you, that you keep the big things the big things. You don't get distracted by something that doesn't matter. Like, yes, your parents are very annoying and frustrating and exhausting to deal with, but they're aging, they're elderly, they need support, and you want to show them love in this time of life, and so you're doing that even though it's exhausting and frustrating. You know, and that might be your answer for today. Tomorrow it might be, you know, you can't take care of yourself. You can't take care of somebody else if you're not taking care of yourself, if it's overtaxing you. You know, so like I think you're very principle driven, and you're able to select the correct principle for the situation in a way that others really find inspiring. What else for pile 5, please, Spirit? What kind of compliments do people give them behind their back? I'm hearing somebody say, like, well, that's all well and good. I'm glad I'm such a great person, but how do they think I look? Which we had a couple piles where that came through really strongly. If you're looking specifically for that, you may want to pick another pile, but because I'm not getting too much here, but we'll see what comes out in the clarifiers here. Spirit, anything else that you want pile 5 to know about what people compliment them on? Page of Cups and the Fool in reverse. 4 Wands in reverse, Knight of Pentacles. It's like you're very measured, you're very careful. You don't make mistakes with the way that you say things. You don't insult people. You don't screw up. Like, you just plain don't screw up. I think some people, like, they love it about you, but they're also kind of like, my goodness, can pile 5 like just never make a mistake, you know? but you're very responsible too, and you don't need a lot of stimulation. Like, you're not one of these people that's like fancy and needs to be showered with a lot of presents and bougie experiences. Like, you're pretty happy, I think, just being at home, just doing what you do, just focusing on your life. And people find that really admirable. It's not just that they compliment it about you. It's like this is the first pile where it's like they really admire you. The closest thing to this was pile 1. It was more like inspiration. But this is admiration. Like, wow, pile 5 exists. I just never knew that such a person could exist. It's a really nice energy, pile 5. So this was your reading, what people compliment about you behind your back. I hope it resonated. Please leave me a like if it did, if you liked the video. If you want to share anything about your thoughts on this pile, please do so in the comments, and I will see you in the next reading. Also, if you want to get in on my private readings before the rate goes up January 1st, send me an email. Thanks so much, pile 5. All right, pile 6, if you picked the Holy Fool card, this is going to be your reading. So we're asking, what compliments do people give you behind your back? You know, it's kind of funny with this card, but the first thing I'm getting is like, that body though, pile 6. Which is so funny because, like, I don't know. It's this like spindly guy with a beard and no clothes, but yeah, I think you take very good care of your body, or even if you don't, even if you're on like the Doritos and Fanta diet, I don't know. You look really good with no clothes on, pile 6. So people compliment this about you. Even if you have some areas that you feel like aren't perfect or that you wish were different, no, people that see it really appreciate your body. And this is not about perfection. It's not about you looking like the person on this card, like, thankfully. But it's like, it fits you. Okay, this might seem a little weird to you, but this is totally the kind of stuff that I think about. Have you ever seen someone without clothes on and you're like, that just doesn't look like your head should be on that body? Or what is going on with that body? Like, why does it have that weird shape? Like, this is strange. Or maybe, or even like I've seen a few bodies where I'm like, that is too muscly to be good for you. You know what I'm saying here? Am I the only one? But with you, it's like the opposite experience. It's like, yes, that is exactly how your body should look. That is exactly the body that you should have. Your body is exactly the one that should go on your head. Seriously. Okay, please someone tell me I'm not alone with this weird body thing, because it's really a big thing to me. So there's just something really pleasing and really positive about the way you look with no clothes. You know what I'm thinking now? So have you ever seen those posts on social media where it's like, I don't know, there's a pie and somebody cuts a piece of the pie that's like very asymmetrical, and it's like nails on a chalkboard almost the way they do it. It's like, why would you do that? Or someone laid tile in a bathroom and they did it in such a way that like 3 of the tiles had to be this weird angle and it looks terrible. Or even worse, someone like puts they design a bathroom, but they put the bathroom where like the toilet is behind the door and the sink is on the other side of the room, or, you know, weird things that are just like, that shouldn't be. Like, you are the opposite of that. Everything's in the right places. And I'm hearing somebody laughing like, okay, so I have a functional body that doesn't look scary. But it's more than that. I'm not doing a good job of describing, like, okay, we have this bird up here. This relates, I promise, okay? We have this like white dove that's coming down from the sky. And whenever this happens in like Bible stories, it's usually like a symbol of peace from God or like a messenger from God. And there's something about you with no clothes that feels like this. And let me do my best to describe this feeling. Weirdest reading ever. It's like, it's just a thing of beauty. It's not about it being stimulating or hot and I'm not saying you're not those things, but it's not the point. It's that, it's like these Renaissance paintings. It's a quality that's hard to describe. It's art. And like, what is art? Who gets to decide what art is? I don't know, but it's to me, it's the kind of thing where it's like, you know it when you see it. And you are that. In particular, your body with no clothes, it's art. It's a beautiful thing and inspiring. And this is not just romantic. So if you're listening to this reading, you're like, get to something else. I don't have a partner. Like, this would count even for people that are just your friends and have seen you with no clothes, okay? And I know this might feel a little weird, but my throat chakra is like, don't talk about this. It's funny. But like, if you have friends, often you see them without clothes in a range of situations. At least I do. And how do I say this? It's like you can see somebody else's body and be like, oh wow, how nice for them, or how cute that you have those little freckles right there, or your skin is so luminous. Oh my goodness, I'm hating the way that I'm talking about this right now. I'm really struggling to like get the words correct or get them out. Are you here from pile 4? Have you followed me over with like my word diarrhea from pile 4? Because I was talking in pile 4 how they didn't have a lot of physical attributes in that pile, so they should pick another pile. So they might all have come over here, and I'm now afflicted with this inability to say anything. Oh my goodness. Thank you for your patience, all of you in pile 6. We will make it through this reading. I don't really know how to describe what I'm thinking and feeling here, but it's even on a platonic level, or even, okay, here's another example, like with a child. Maybe that's a better example. You're babysitting a child, you have to change their clothes, you have to get them a new diaper, you see their bodies, their little bodies. There's something really positive and pleasing about little kid bodies. To me, it's like, look how perfectly formed everything is. And it's before the ages where people start really freaking out about how a body should look or shouldn't. We just think of little kids as like, oh, this is their body, this is the way that it is, And it just gives you this feeling of like all is right with the world. It is a peace feeling. It's, again, kind of strange that you would feel that looking at someone's physical form, but that's really what I'm getting. It's like, it's soothing, it's nurturing somehow, it's peaceful, it's like this belief settles on you that everything's okay, all is right with the world. And if you have someone that you're romantically sharing your body with, it's like times 100 then, because there's that feeling plus like the stimulating side. And that's a really powerful cocktail for sure. Okay, I'm going to leave that part there. What else, Spirit, should pile 6 know about compliments that they receive behind their back? I'm hearing for many of you, it's literally behind your back. So like your backside, also gets a lot of compliments. 4 of Cups, and then we have the 10 of Wands. So with the 10 of Wands, what I'm getting is people see that you can really handle a lot. So maybe you're very strong. Maybe you like literally work out a lot. Maybe you run marathons. I have to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Pile 6. I think that's the first time that's happened in a reading. You can really handle a lot. And people admire and compliment you on I would say this is like resilience, your stamina, your ability to like keep going. And also with the Four of Cups, like normally the Four of Cups is about feeling like the grass is greener in some way. But here, this is more, I'm looking at this bear and how they look kind of bored and like they're not even looking at this other cup. Like, I think that you're actually quite focused. Like, you don't get distracted by something that appears shiny or flashy. You focus on what has the most like inherent value, and that's where you find value. Yeah. What has inherent value. At the bottom of the deck we have is the Sun card. So it's like you're very committed to your own happiness. You're very focused on living your best life and don't let anybody else get in the way of that in a way that's really impressive to others and makes them feel happy too. So I think people really just like being around you, pile 6 as well. So this was your reading. Let me know what you thought, please. I would love to hear. Leave me a like if you liked the video, comment if you want to share anything, and please subscribe to the channel if you'd like to support me or if you'd like to hear anytime I upload a new video, which right now is 2 or 3 times a week. And if you want to get in for a private reading before my rates increase January 1st, please send me an email and we will get you set up. Thank you so much for coming by, pile 6. See you in the next reading.